Alright, and this problem tells us solve cosine squared x minus 1 over the interval between 0 and 360. Remember, this is probably the first time we've seen the power of 2 when we're solving equations, so I have 2 times cosine of x squared minus 1 equals 0. We've been solving linears. Here's an example of a linear. Notice how there is no powers of 2. So here we need to be careful. Here I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I'm left with 2 times cosine x squared equals 1. Now, should I take the square root or divide by 2? Let's go ahead and do that. My 2's will cancel. Cosine of x squared equals 1/2. I have the square root isolated, so now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Pay attention. Cosine of x. When you take the square root of an equation, the answer is plus or minus. The reason why it's plus or minus is because you could put positive 2 squared gives you 4, or negative 2 squared gives you positive 4. Now, here you have the square root of 1 over the square root of 2. Class, what is the square root of 1? And can you have 1 over the square root of 2? No. You're going to have to do what there? So we rationalize. So in the numerator you'll get radical 2 over radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4, which is 2. You'll notice as we continue moving on using trig identities, you're going to notice more and more side problems to help you understand the connection between the math we're doing to something you've already seen. So here, if I separate them, I have cosine of x equals a positive radical 2 over 2. And on the other side, I have cosine of x equals a negative radical 2 over 2. I want to solve for x. Class, how do I get x by itself? We're going to switch them and take the inverse. So if you aren't doing that, arrows on your paper, you should be. So now I have the inverse of cosine is radical 2 over 2 equals x. And on this side, I have the inverse of cosine of a negative radical 2 over 2 equals x. So basically, I'm going to look on my unit circle where cosine is the positive radical 2 over 2, which should be 2 locations, and a negative radical 2 over 2. Cosine is the first order pair. It is the x. So here I see one in quadrant 1, radical 2 over 2, and I could just follow the pink down. That's not what I wanted. That's a negative, so all students take calculus. Here's a positive. Here's another one. So I have, we were supposed to be using degrees. So I have 45 and 315. And then now I'm going to look for the negative radical 2. So that's the other 2 quadrants. These were it's positive, therefore it's going to be negative over here. So I see it there. Negative radical 2 and negative radical 2. So that would be 135 and 225. Count with me how many solutions we have. Ready, set, go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And that should be a now kind of like a mix of what we've been doing, but in here in this problem we have a quadratics.